Here's Parris Lilly. Let's bring him in. Parris, hey, what's going on,
Welcome,
brother?
sir.
How are you doing? Good evening. Great video. The last couple of videos have been really, really good. How do you want to address this? Because your video kind of really broke it down in a great way. But of course, you're here, so let's talk about it.
Oh, hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words on the video. Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to say it is what it is. That's the wrong way to put it. But it's not. I'm not shocked. I guess that's just the best way to put it. When all the Call of Duty stuff originally we're talking about before the showcase, in late May or early June, we're on Kind of Funny, and we even were talking about it. Oh, what? Oh, it was the layoffs. That's what it was. It's when the studio closures happened, and we did that games cast, and myself, Greg, and Mike.
Yeah.
Talking about it then, and we're saying then they're going to raise the price of Game Pass. We knew it then, and we're even speculating at that point Ultimate would probably be around $20. And I'm pretty sure I'm the one that said it, but one of us said it, that don't be surprised if you see a tier that does not have day and date. We're even thinking that then, but we're also thinking maybe there'd be an ad supported tier or something like that. So to see what we ultimately got with this standard tier ultimate price raise, PC Game Pass and Core, I mean, I get it. I don't think anybody should be happy about this. It's just the brutal reality of the current state of economy right now, that the prices are raised. But I do have an issue with the standard tier. At $15, I feel like you're basically telling people it's really just a deterrent to get you to go to Ultimate. Really, I mean,
yeah,
realistically going to do that.
Yeah,
and
like no point to that tier. It's so weird.
Yeah. And, and I'd even tweeted about, I hope they clarify what the cadence is going to look like for new releases to come into that standard tier. And I know Jez had responded under that saying it would be case by case. And I had said in that video I was like, I hope it's not case by case, because that just leaves it there's just too much doubt on that. I mean, even if you can't specifically say, hey, it's every 3 months or it's every 6 months or a year or whatever, give us some kind of range on that so people can accept. So if someone wants to say, hey, I'm going to buy the standard tier, at least they know, well, hey, 6 months from now, I'm going to get Black Ops 6 in there when, once it comes out or whatever, right? Or Avowed or whatever the case, even if it is a year, at least, as a consumer, that, all right, this is worth me investing my money into, because I'm not necessarily going to play these games day one, but I know I'm going to get them in a reasonable amount of time to come to this tier. But I mean, I hope they clarify this more. Well, obviously, someone told Jez that, so we'll see what they officially say on that. But right now, to me personally, this is me. People can feel how they want to feel. I personally think you should just have the ultimate tier at 20, and then I get Core's really just Xbox Live Gold, but even that at $10, I'm not necessarily a fan of that. I think maybe if it was like $8 a month or something like that for the multiplayer, okay, fine. You throw a couple Game Pass games in there, every month or whatever, and you just go from there. To me, that's what they should do, because I think there's too many tiers right now. Not to mention PC Game Pass. Out of everything that they listed, PC Game Pass is the best thing they have in there. If I'm a PC only guy, that's the one to get.
$12, right?
Yeah, at $12. Yeah. And clearly people that play on console see that, and they see that as a slap in the face to console players. Like, wow, you value the PC player more than you value me, the console player, right? But part of that is, and I know people don't like to hear this, is they also realize PC players have other options. They're not going to pay for multiplayer. They tried that with games for Windows. That didn't work. So that's going to make it less. Okay, you don't get EA, you don't get cloud, but they are getting all the new releases day and date in there, because they're clearly trying to get more people from the PC audience to invest in the Game Pass. I think the first thing they need to do is they need to fix the Xbox app before they think that's going to realistically happen, because people just simply won't subscribe to it. They'll stay on Steam versus doing that. Look at the Epic Store. The Epic Store has jumped through 1,000 hoops to try and get people to invest into that store, and they just don't do it. The only games I have on there is because I had no choice but to get them, because I was reviewing something that said I had to get it on the Epic Store. Other than that, I just get it on Steam. So we'll see we'll see with this news how it plays out. I think a critical part of this for them is going to be their official messaging, since they've not officially come out and said anything yet. But right now, I mean, it just seems like a whole bunch of tiers. It just seems like, people are concerned about, you're going to just keep raising prices. Why am I subbing this? Why shouldn't I? I think the best course of action that they can have is have a clear, concise message, good or bad, about what the roadmap for this standard tier is going to be, and then start releasing great games. And then I think people start talking. That's, in my opinion, what they got to do.
No, I mean, it's a great opinion. Yes. Now, obviously, we had Hellblade this year. The rest of the year is stacked. Again, we don't know what's happening with Towerborn. I know you had said on Kind of Funny, you think that that's going to potentially, that they should potentially push that into 25 if it's not done. And I agree with you. If it needs more time, there's so many games, let it cook, or let them cook.
Well, I think, honestly, just on that note, I think even if let's say it's ready in November, at that point, just push it to January, because now it gets its own window unopposed, where there isn't 1,000 other things it's trying to compete with. One other thing I can say before you continue. Another thing that I obviously pay attention a lot to what people say online, and the other argument I'm seeing again is like, why is Xbox being held to this standard? We don't talk about when PlayStation raised prices. PlayStation did this. PlayStation did that. Here's the difference. PlayStation Plus was never presented to us as part of the appeal to invest in the Xbox. Day and Date was the appeal for Game Pass. That's how they have sold it to us from the beginning. Obviously, a lot of their marketing over the past few years has been about Game Pass. Again, you could take it back to what Phil said when they originally acquired Bethesda. What did he say? It's about giving you expenses where Game Pass exists, right? So they've constantly been pushing that Game Pass is a part of this ecosystem that you want to be a part of, right? So when you make a change to this ecosystem, which is what the standard tier is, that no longer has one of the key components of why you want us to invest in this, people are going to have questions. People are going to push back on that. Sony has never sold us on PlayStation Plus being this Game Pass competitor in that way. So if you're going to change it, you need to give clarification as to what it is moving forward. So people my thing is, whether it's good or bad, just tell me so I can make my own informed decision on how I want to spend my money. That's all it really comes down to.
And listen, you're right. Not keeping your consumers, or keeping your consumers in the dark is never a good thing. Springing a change on us without telling us and just kind of hoping it goes away because you're going to drop a big game into Game Pass isn't the way to do it either. Be clear. One of the biggest criticisms I have for Microsoft, and specifically Xbox, Parris, and you've talked about this on Kind of Funny, is the messaging. It's always really just wonky. It's just really isn't. Well, this is kind of one of those times again. Like that console tier, it just doesn't make sense.
And it's just, I can't even say unfortunate, because this is what they want to do, but I will say it's unfortunate from our standpoint, where you finally feel like there was some goodwill there as far as what Xbox was doing. I mean, that showcase was arguably the best one they've ever done, right? There was a lot of goodwill around those games. People were talking positive about it. But then, and it wasn't as big of a deal to me, but I understand people were upset with the marketing over the Amazon Fire Stick, talking about no Xbox, no problem kind of thing. Like, again, people feeling like you're devaluing the console. And then you do this where you make a change to your subscription service that clearly is not favorable towards people that only play on console. Again, it's the messaging around it. Like, my whole thing is, even if it's bad news, if I got to take my castor oil, give me a heads up on it, instead of dropping it on me in this way. Because, and I don't know what Jez is going to eventually wind up saying about it, because obviously Windows Central put this out first and Microsoft obviously confirmed it. So was this information that they got and then Microsoft just said, yeah, this is true, and they put it out? Was this something Microsoft wanted them to promote? Is there going to be an Xbox Wire post on this? Is what's going to happen officially from Xbox? Look, those guys at Windows Central work hard. They do great work. That's fine. And obviously 100% believe everything that they're saying, but I do want to hear it from the horse's mouth too. You know,
I mean, they
just-
put out something, right? They do actually have something on their site.
Is it on Xbox Wire now?
Yep, support.xbox or something. I'll
Oh,
find
no.
the site
See,
for you.
that's what I'm saying. Not support. None of that. I'm talking on Wire, a blog post. Here are the changes we're making to Game Pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong for wanting that. Again, look. All you gotta do is look on social media. You haven't seen Sarah tweeting. You have not seen Matt. Doesn't really tweet anyway, but Phil usually out there, and I know it's him. I know it's Phil Spencer that's tweeting. You haven't heard anything. They kind of know that this was not going to go over well. Any price increase is always going to be booed. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care what console you rock with. Don't advocate for price increases. Don't do that. That's just I'm not going to sign off on that. And you shouldn't either. You should want the maximum value at the cheapest price. These corporations are making billions with a B, and don't feel bad for them. So when something happens, give them the smoke. Sorry.
And I'll go back to something I was saying before. Again, I think my biggest thing, and I understand why it's not going to happen, but my biggest thing is core. I wish could just go away. Like, why do console players have to pay for multiplayer? You would think that's so ridiculous in 2024, but the truth of the matter is, it's a huge revenue stream for them. They're not going to give that. They're not going to give that up until they have no choice.
Them and Sony, for that matter.
Yeah.
And Nintendo, to be fair, right? They also do the same thing. You have to pay for their online.
I mean, I pay $60 a year for Nintendo. I mean, I get old games, but it's fine.
You get $60 to then be able to put in your social security number. Good on you.
That is very true. Yes.
But like I was saying before, the people that make out like bandits on this is someone that just has a high-end PC. Hey, okay, I'll give you $12 a month and I get it all. I'm good.
Yep.
I don't pay anything else. So I don't know. Like I said, I just think they need to communicate this officially, and like I said, whether it's good news, bad news, acceptable, whatever it is, at least they're telling you so people can understand, because we're still speculating
can I ask
a lot.
Question?
No.
Let me ask a question because Parris Lily is here. Yes, of course. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate that. So is there a scenario where they allow the Xbox eras and the Windows Centrals of the world to kind of seed the ground with this information? They soak up all the information that has been gleaned by the community, only to then have an official post that makes these tiers far less egregious than we initially thought. Is there a world where they take all that in and go, guess what? No standard tier, right?
So
I hope that
you mean the pushback?
Yeah.
Well, because like you're saying there, Parris, they have not officially said a damn thing, right? Only the trusted sources, who are indeed trusted sources.
Well, I mean, it is on it's on their site, right? So
I will let you in on a teeny tiny secret.
Please.
It's happening.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
I know
no.
that.
Let me be clear. We've known this is happening some time now.
Yeah.
My question is, will the back and forth and the slight consternation from the community cause there to be any changes? Not to say to reverse course, it's not getting reversed, but will it cause them to massage the tiers a bit? Like everyone has agreed, standard tier. What are you doing there?
I don't think so, because I think this is, for lack of a better term, I think this is the classic used car salesman tactic, where that tier is there to deter you from getting. They don't want you to buy that one. They want you to buy the $20 one.
Yeah.
So that one is more appealing to you. Oh, why am I spending $15 for this and I don't get it day one? Oh man, I'm gonna just go get the ultimate, because now I can play it on console. I get it day one. I can play it on PC. I got the cloud. I get EA in there. Yeah, I'm just getting that. That's what to me that tier is for.
Yeah, it's there to push you to ultimate. It is what it is. And then they're canceling the console tier and making sure you can't stack on it, which that rubs me the wrong way.
The console tier was pointless.
Yeah, we were talking about that, back in May as well, that don't be surprised where they try to lock you in more to, with a subscription, so that as these price increases happening, you aren't getting the huge deal that you were getting previously. But ironically enough, you can still do it with Ultimate, just not on the console.
I mean, I guess there could be a contingent of players that only play single player games that the console Game Pass might be useful for. It just felt
look.
weird.
See,
when you were
Hargy,
locked
you're
out of
not
multiple-
you're not looking at the mom and pop situation. You walk into a store, you don't know what your child plays. You got this thing. Oh, it's got a tier. Oh, I guess this is for the console. Here's the Series S and the console. You out the door. They don't spend time with the you get this, you get that. No, Timmy needs this. Here's the console thing. It's a console, right? Here you go. Right.
So
it is the mom and pop tier.
Yeah, but
can
but
I
it doesn't.
address something in the
Go
chat
ahead.
super quick?
Please.
Because someone was
Yeah.
is saying to me, the masses don't understand the disparities between the standard and the ultimate edition. I think we need to stop underestimating the intelligence of the average consumer. That's what I think. I think they can understand that. They can easily understand that. And that's what this just goes back to my point again. That tier is there to upsell you to ultimate.
To deter you. Yep.
Yeah.
To deter you. Yeah. Which I'm sure it's probably working because I mean, haven't we already discussed? We probably will never get the full stack of numbers on that, but most subscribers are ultimate subscribers, so it does seem to work.
Well, again,
you
I
also have
looked
to
for
say
it. I couldn't find the specific number breakdown, but based on what I was able to read while you guys were talking, it appears that the console section, if you will, is relatively small. Like it's either ultimate on console or PC. Like it's a very, very small number, but I just can't find exactly what
And
that
I do
number
recall
is.
something like 2, maybe 3 million people are on core. It was pretty low. It wasn't very high anymore. So most people on console just get Game Pass.
But that's the other thing that we also, and I'm sure you guys already talked about this. This only affects new subscribers. So this is just, they're probably looking at it, and I'm just speculating here. Hey, we might get a new influx of people wanting to subscribe to this thing because of Call of Duty, right?
Yep.
And Avowed and some of these other games. All right, the OGs that are already in there, y'all good. Just if you keep it, you're good. But these new people coming in, oh yeah, we trying to push y'all up to ultimate. And if you don't want to get ultimate, we charge you $15 and you don't get a day and date.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. Listen, Parris, I don't know how much time you have, but I do want to pose another question for you.
Sure.
And I want to shout out Ultraman because this is a phenomenal topic. I want to get into it. It is a hot topic. He asks in all caps, let me find just Ultraman, Family Game Pass is the answer. Now, I listened to a Mavcast. Now, Mav is an incredible community member, content creator. He speaks for 2 hours in front of a camera. I can't do it for more than 30 minutes. I don't know how he does it. That's a professional. I'm not. But he had a Mavcast yesterday, and one of the big comments and the topics was specifically the family plan. Now, the family plan was originally announced. They said it was in beta. They tested it in a few countries. This is one of those situations where I think you get rid of console, you get rid of core, you have PC, you have the $20 one, and I think there would be room for a family plan because, like he was saying, meaning Mav, he pays for two ultimate subscriptions. His wife's a gamer, he's a gamer, and his daughter's a gamer. So, I mean, I think that there is, I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if they sunsetted it or they didn't, but I think that is, for at least for me, and I agree with Ultraman here, is in fact the answer. If you could have your PC one for $12, you have your ultimate for $20, but if you are someone that has a family and you have multiple gamers, you just add how many gamers you need on that family plan. What are your thoughts on the family plan, Parris? Have you heard anything?
You want me to give you the good news or the bad news?
I mean, I say go bad news first. I mean, this is, it is what we're talking about.
They're not doing a family plan.
Yeah, I figured as much. Okay, I mean, it's a shame. It was a great idea.
I think they tested it out. Obviously, we know that, but I mean, just applying a little bit of logic to this, you wouldn't see all the shuffling of tiers and price increases now. If they were doing it, they would announce it right now. They would also say, and we're including this family plan for $30 a month or whatever it would be, right? So the fact that they're not saying that at either tells me they're not doing it, or if they do it, it's not coming anytime soon.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. It's just, I think it would curve a lot of the confusion. But no,
And
that's
by
So
the way,
go
gentlemen,
ahead.
real quick, while you guys were talking, I was still looking for it. Two things. One, I heard Phil Spencer himself, and if you happen to be in the digital fan fest that year, you'd have heard him say it as well. I heard Phil Spencer himself say they were trying to do the family plan. He said we're working on it, and it never materialized. And two, if you check our private DM right now, you will see the Xbox Wire where they are still on their site saying they've expanded it to 6 more countries, and still they're not doing it. So it was definitely in the works. It's just it fell by the wayside somewhere.
What we got from it was that it's the publishers that have games in Game Pass pushed back and said, "Why are you doing this? And how are we getting our compensation for it?"
Right.
And so I think the problem is, like you said, Parris, it's going to take a while because they're going to have to re-up every contract or wait for games to expire out, and then the new games would be hopefully set to allow family plan. So unfortunately, I think that's why they have to pull it, because otherwise you don't usually pull it, right? You say, okay, that's working, let's add more. They had to pull it because the publisher said, "Yo, what are you doing here?" And so they have to get rid of it. So I think that's kind of, unfortunately, it's going to be a while before that comes out. I like my plan better because it's something you can do, right? So I don't know if you, Parris, you saw what I came up with, but you change Ultimate into Standard, and that is your standard plan, right? So it's $20 a month. That's what you get. If you want an Ultimate, you give it with extra benefits, like you get all the Elder Scrolls Online or Fallout 76 subscriptions. You get put that in there, and then you can do maybe the Ultimate Edition like they do with Ubisoft Plus, right? Or EA Play Pro. You get the Ultimate Edition of the game instead of the normal edition of the game, something like that, right? So you get extra benefits. If they could pull it off, they could even go to Ubisoft and EA and say, "Hey, why don't we get EA Play Pro in here or Ubisoft Plus in here, right? Do something along those lines, and then you charge more. Fair enough." But like at that point, it doesn't feel as bad to you because you're like, "Oh, I had that, but whoa, I can get this and I can pay more, but I get all this. Well, that sounds cool, right?" Because it creates excitement because you now get something instead of just being forced to pay more.
You brought up a point when you first started talking that a very wise person in the industry told me this a few years ago, and it's always stuck with me. And this person told me that whenever you see something that seems like it should just totally make sense, like, wait, why aren't they doing this? This would make sense. This is so easy. They should be doing it. It's always, he said 9 times out of 10 is licensing. It's always something with a license every freaking time, is why they obviously, like, if we're talking about it, they've talked about it 100 times internally, right? And it always comes back to licensing. Something along the chain, there's some license or contract or something that's preventing them from doing the thing that just would make sense. So so I think that probably factors into it as well.
Well, it's a shame because the family plan would have answered a lot of questions. Again, I think we are getting into a realm where there are just too many tiers. I think I agree with Hargeet and his video regarding it just being simplified. It would be pretty amazing if what we're getting now was the standard, $20, and if there was an ultimate, if you will, additional tier that gave us all of these. Let's say, for instance, WoW, or like I said, you said Elder Scrolls Online or Fallout 76, or any of these things that you don't have to buy stuff for. Like the way that Ubisoft does it is, I was always in the bag for the $120 edition. Every time they had a game, I love Ubisoft and I love their games. Every time there was a new Assassin's Creed, every time there was a Splinter Cell or Ghost Recon, I got the $120 edition. Now, I don't buy anything. I pay $17.99 plus tax, and I get everything. And this year, it's gonna be a plethora of games. Not only do you got Assassin's Creed, you got the other Prince of Persia that's coming out. You got Star Wars Outlaws. You got a bunch of stuff dropping this year. So I'm definitely getting my money's worth. But look, at the end of the day, the price increase happened. I don't think anyone. Look, I said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't know what your bank account looks like. Maybe $3 is just too much for you. If it is, then do your due diligence If you want to get the best one, which is $20, go hunting for it. I'm consistently talking about it. Hargeet's talked about it. Kay is always talking about it. There are sites out there right now that you can get Game Pass Ultimate for under $9 a month. Literally right now. CD Keys under $27.
As we were talking, Mr. John Wolf signed up. He saved $160 on a year subscription.
There you go. And I'm paid up until July 9th, 2027. I'm locked in. I'm good. If money is an issue, and unfortunately in 2024, it's becoming a problem for a lot of people. Even hardworking families where mom and dad are working, the kids are working, and it's just not enough. This world sucks right now. So try and bend these corporations to your will, not the other way around. If you can go out and find Game Pass Ultimate for cheap, don't be sorry you're doing it. Go do it and stack it. Keep stacking it until you got your 36 months in and you're good. And you know what? Buy extra. It's not like a cream cheese. If you leave it out, it's going to go bad. Tuck those things in. Okay, tell people what you did. This was ingenious.
Yeah, so what I do is I buy as much as I can afford. So if I say I'm going to buy 5-6 cards, I buy 5-6 cards, and it only stacks to a certain amount. So then I calculate when I can then add another one, which will be at a later date. And then in the calendar invite, I put the code. So out of nowhere, 8-10 months down the line, I get an update. Hey man, add this code. Boom, and I stack again. And I have it literally littered in my calendar for years to come. So I never know the actual price of Game Pass. I'm just always stacked.